So a cool feature that the reason why it took me a few seconds was I was working on this new tool that automatically generates down or from Jupyter notebooks or whatever you upload to your repository. It's using Sphinx, if you've heard of that, for creating documentation. Anyway, it also makes slides, and it's pretty cool. So anyway, I'll post a link to the repository in case you want to play with it. So what's a pro-social intuition pump? Well, first you got to know what an intuition pump is to begin with. There's a book called Intuition Pumps and Tools for Thinking by Daniel C. Dennett that I got this idea from, and actually I got 77 ideas from it. There were his book is a collection. He's a famous philosopher, brilliant thinker, up there with Chomsky and all the best. And he compiled a list of everything that he thought every human being should know about how to live life and how to think. And so it's in categories of like just general intuition pumps, things like Occam's razor, I'm sure you've heard of. Things about meaning and content, things about computers. He actually teaches you how to build a register machine and actually, play out the actions of a ring on a piece of paper. It's pretty amazing stuff. He collaborated with computers. How they're thinking. Of course, he has a lot of thoughts about AI. More meaning thoughts, evolution, consciousness, free will, and philosophy. Those are all in the book, so feel free. So a couple highlights that are big for me. Making mistakes is his number one rule. It's the only way to learn. It's trial and error is the core of active learning. You guys have heard me harp on that for many of my talks, and I make lots of mistakes in these talks. Sturgeon's law, 90% of everything is bunk. And that means that you need to be on the lookout for that 10% and always trying to bring that in. Hopefully some of these intuition pumps will be among that 10% in your mind. And of course, Occam's razor, which you've heard of probably. The focus of this talk, though, is these pro-social intuition pumps. Let's see if I've got, so I'm going to give you some pro-social intuition pumps over the next 12 months, provided David's and Diane's patience holds. I'll try to keep them short. The one today is about a study that was done in psychology back in the 90s, I think it was, around putting a picture of a face or a pair of eyes in front of a donation bowl whenever you're asking for change for your coffee at the coffee shop, or and I'm sorry, it was the actual study was in sort of a meeting room at a corporate setting where people were, I think there were donuts or food of some sort, and people were encouraged to chip in however much they thought they had eaten. And so I did an experiment recently here at a local laundromat in my apartment complex, where I put out some change and left some dollar bills and allowed people to make change for themselves. And we'll see how that goes over time. Maybe I'll report on it next month. So that's the intuition pump for this month is think about ways that you can trust the natural pro-social instinct of all humans, taking advantage of some psychological tricks that are used very often by salesmen. There's another book called The Power of Influence, but one of those is if you do provide a note to somebody, or you want them to do something that's sort of pro-social and sort of have that lizard brain feeling of being watched, and then you just put a pair of eyes or a picture of a face on whatever it is that you're trying to give instructions with. So that's the intuition pump for today. So the next thing I want to do is, oops, let's see if this is going to work. There we go. Okay, that's okay. I'm working on getting the, I'm still learning how this thing works, this whole slide generation. This next slide is a laundry list of my 50 or so pro-social intuition pumps. So I'm going to quickly pick out a few that might be interesting to you and see if you're interested in and yelling out or chatting about one that you might want to hear about next month. So there's the Zeitgeist movement here in San Diego. There's a Zeitgeist run by a friend. There's Clear Funds and Gitcoin and Green Pill, all of public goods networks. The Python user groups, of course, around the world are an example of an intuition pump that's very pro-social in terms of taking advantage of the natural human instinct for social reciprocity. Einstein, Gandhi, Muhammad, and some of the famous religious leaders of the past. Wikipedia, Wikidata, Freebase, Apache, open source licenses, PeerTube, Mastodon, lots of Ethereum, though that's questionable, as to its positive impact and externalities. Anyway, there's a whole laundry list. I'll send a link in the chat, and you guys can let me know if any of those sounded interesting for tonight. Let's see if I can stop share and go to chat.